I'm Peter Marks, theater critic of the Washington Post.
And I'm Elizabeth Vincentelli, and I write about theater for the New York Times. We are back. Marks and Vincentelli is back. The podcast for people who can't stop talking about theater, who can't stop watching theater, who live and breathe theater. That is us.
That is us. And we're continuing our journey through Theaterland today in an incisive way with a guest who's distinguished herself many times on Broadway and beyond.
Yes, today with us is Danielle Brooks, who I am so psyched that she found the time because she's currently on Broadway in a revival of August Wilson's The Piano Lesson, where she's playing Bernice, the one who's really, really holding on to the title piano. And it's been extended at the Ethel Barrymore Theater. So it's a great cast too. It's Danielle, it's Samuel L. Jackson, John David Washington, and it's directed by Latanya Richardson Jackson. It's a terrific production.
Yeah, and it's picking up steam. I mean, as it's been going along, it's been actually gathering popularity. So people are finding it and going. And Danielle, as many of you know, is remembered at a very tender age for her touchstone performance as Tasha Jefferson, better known as Tasty, on Netflix's obsessively bingeable Orange is the New Black. Her performance was one of the main reasons I watched.
Oh, totally.
And kept with it. I just thought it was a really heartfelt and convincing performance. Also, she did play Mahalia Jackson. She sings too in Mahalia, directed on TV by Kenny Leon. Also in the HBO Max series Peacemaker. But theater is a major part of her resume, as Sophia in the revival of the musical version of The Color Purple with Cynthia Erivo. Her rendition of Hell No regularly brought down the house. I don't know, Hell No, that's like the Jewish version. Hell No. She's apparently, I didn't know this, she's in a new movie version of the musical that just wrapped. So you'll all be able to see that. And her extraordinary range also extends to playing Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing in Central Park a few years ago.
We're totally thrilled to welcome Danielle Brooks on the podcast. And I've got to say, when we were getting to know each other a little before the actual recording, we're talking about Juilliard, and you were in Group 40.
Yes.
There's three of you on Broadway right now, which is kind of fantastic in three great parts. Did you know these guys at the time, like when you were all in school? Actually, we should say who it is.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be able to talk about theater and especially talk about my friends and get to brag on the other two people that are a part of Group 40 from the class of Juilliard drama. And that's Corey Hawkins and Jakina Calicango. We're all on Broadway at the same time. We were all in the same class. We did our final showcase in front of agents and managers in the New York scene all together. And so for us to all be having such a grand moment, myself in the piano lesson, Corey in Top Dog, Underdog, and Jakina joining us in Into the Woods is like, hallelujah. It's everything.
It's awesome.
It's everything.
Did you guys, I don't know, like, did you know each other back then? Like, did you do scenes together? Like, what kind of stuff did you work on when you were there? I'm always fascinated by
we were
Juilliard.
really close together. Yeah. Juilliard, yeah. Well, they only accept 18 a year, or at least when I was went there. I don't know the format now because it's kind of changed in a lot of ways. But when I was there, they accepted only 18 students, and Jakina and I were the only chocolate girls in our class, and we were very tight together. And Corey and I, we all we bonded so well because first of our love for the theater, but second we were also singers. We were all from the South. Corey's from DC, so I don't know what they call themselves, but
sort of on
like
it's on the fringe
area. I don't know what they do, but yeah, we worked on scenes together for 4 years of our study there. In closing even out our year singing together this song called Total Praise that we sang together, a gospel song for our showcase, Juilliard final showcase. So we're really tight. We all support each other. We're all in each other's lives. I talk to Corey almost every other day, and we're just sending each other like, have a great 5-show weekend. We're all, just giving each other love. And when Jakina told me that she was coming back on Broadway, we were super thrilled because we thought that we were going to overlap with Paradise Square, but we ended up overlapping with Into the Woods.
What a riot.
This is just, it's really something special. And to be doing the piano lesson in the same theater that Jakina did Paradise Square and won her Tony, to be also in the same theater that Corey, I believe, did Romeo and Juliet.
Oh my God, that's right. He did, but I don't know. There was
no, was it Romeo? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he was in there.
It was in that theater, I believe. It was one of his shows was in that theater. He was like, "We have the same dressing room," so I just feel like they really blessed it, and I'm really grateful for that.
That's that's interesting, Danielle. I know you grew up in South Carolina, and I interviewed Danielle when she was doing an amazing job in The Color Purple on Broadway at Sophia. She just rocked the house every night.
Thank you.
At least the nights I was there, for sure. And she told me about her growing up, and I wondered, you're talking about Juilliard, Danielle, how different as a performer were you, do you think, when you walked in the first day and the day you left? Was it a transformational experience, or was it New York that transformed you, or was it both? What was different about your sense of yourself as an actor from like, I guess, as a kid to a young woman
That's a really cool question.
At Juilliard?
That's a really cool question, Peter. And I don't think I've ever been asked that question in that way. When I first came into Juilliard, I was 17 years old, and I was a different type of artist. And I actually loved the baby artist that I was, because I was so hungry and excited, and I was fearless. There was nothing you could not ask me to do. I was going to commit 100% of my being to it. Like, I had no fear of failure. And so when I left Juilliard, my artistry had changed dramatically because of the pressure, knowing that this is now the thing that is going to put food on the table. Like, this is the thing that I need now to survive and make it every day in New York City, and the expense of living in New York City as a college student was crazy. So my hustle was different, and my drive was different, and my fear of failing was much more complicated now because
Fascinating.
I did not have the room to fail. Like, I remember my parents saying, like, "Hey, we're going to help you out a little bit, but sis, you're going to have to figure out how you get in transportation, you're paying your rent, all of these things." And so it put a lot of pressure on the thing that I loved so much, which was the art, the storytelling. And so also a part of that is like, now I'm introducing myself to this industry. Who am I? And I was still discovering that because I exited Juilliard at 21. So I've spent 4 years, people shaping the way I speak, move, just constantly shaping me. And now I have to form who I am for myself. And so that was a journey. That was a lot of tears and crying and a lot of discovery, a lot of hardships, but there was so much hope for myself. I just had a lot of hope.
I'm thinking as you're talking, fear, you've mentioned fearlessness and fear in your description. And I think of you, now that I think back on you and your performances, there is a fearlessness about you. I think it's one of the things you project on a stage that makes us believe in you and want to live with you through your experience on stage, whether it's a drama, a comedy, Shakespeare, a musical. I mean, there seems to be this permeability, this transparency in you. And I don't know if that's something that you held on to, that fearlessness as a 17-year-old that you still came out with when you were 21, or if that was something that was a technique or a skill that you developed about being these people and convincing us that you had no fear about doing it.
Yeah, I think it has way more to do with me and my being, and something that I had to circle back around to. And I think I've never lost, because I know that's where my magic lies. When I am as fearless as I can be as Danielle, then it only serves any character that I play. So if I ever step into an audition or into a role without that, it's not going to work. You know, that transparency that you see, it won't be there. And so I have sacrificed my own ego, I guess you can say, to do that. And I think it served me well. I think it served me well and has gotten me to this point, to just surrender to this thing and know that there is a place for me. At the time, there was a place for me. I didn't know it, or I didn't know how I was going to get to it, I'll say. But there was a place for me in this industry, and trusting in that. And that has led to this moment, I think.
What's striking to me is that you have such versatility. Like, it feels that you have an ease of moving between, like, whether it's Shakespeare or August Wilson.
Thank you.
Or what The Color Purple. They're all very, very different languages, and they're very, very different rhythms. And you appear to be very comfortable in all of them. But at the same time, there's also a sense that you're having fun with the language. There's like a joy in saying those specific words.
Yeah,
you know, like, there's like, oh, I'm loving those words. Like, I'm loving saying this.
I do.
Like, it feels very
Thank you.
infectious.
No, it really, thank you for saying, because I really do love the words. I do. I mean, that's where any story starts, is with the words. And I feel like when you want to bring your individuality to a character, and for me, I've played now twice two iconic characters that are what's the word?
Classic?
Yeah, classic, pieces that people have played in the past. I have to put my own spin on it. And that comes from the words. And so for me, like, it's just like, if I'm me bathing in, I don't know, sparkles and gold, and like me bathing in just every syllable and every iambic pentameter, every line, every period. Like, I just love finding stuff. I remember being in Shakespeare in the Park, and when I discovered, I hope I can remember the line. It was, I don't remember the full line, but I had said Signor Benedict. And I had leaned into the dick part. I just loved that discovery. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Because it already takes like audiences so long to like get themselves into Shakespeare, because you're like so immersed in the words and trying to figure out what is going on, because the words are so dense. But when I said it, and it was in the beginning of the play, I was like, this is what's going to like unlock the audience to like stay with us, like stay in every word, and that was super exciting of a discovery for me to find that. And so like, there was just like, yes, I just love the words, I do give a lot of credit to Juilliard for the versatility that they've helped me to discover. Like when you mentioned, like being able to go from Shakespeare to August Wilson to doing a new work, or doing, piano lesson, Sophia. Like, I love that stuff. I I do. And getting to find, all of the beautiful things and bring something new to it. Because I think that's the part of it too, like bringing a new kind of energy to these characters that we've known for so long.
That's wonderful. And I do think that, Elizabeth, you really put your finger on something that I feel when I see Danielle on stage, and certainly on screen, that element of her cherishing the words and giving them a meaning, a depth of meaning that shows she has really done her homework. She knows who these people are. There is always that behind. There's a conviction in the words. And I wondered about the piano lesson in particular. Bernice, who you play, is so pivotal to the play. And I thought in this version, directed by LaTanya Richardson Jackson, I thought that really came forward. In Wilson wrote great women that sometimes don't necessarily explode on the stage quite the way I think Bernice does. And in your scenes with John David Washington, there's a palpable feeling of who this woman is. Did you find Wilson's language very easy for you to adapt as your own, or was that also the poetry in that is his own? I mean, it's really a different. I mean, Shakespeare's an interesting comparison.
It was challenging, and I think a lot of people just automatically think, "Oh, you're Black, you're from the South, it should just click,"
right?
And that's just not true. I have studied it in a way, the same way in which you study like the iambic pentameter and find all of these things in Shakespeare, the rhythms in Shakespeare. I feel like I've studied that just being observant of my community and my aunts and uncles and grandmothers and moms and pops and all of the things. Like, I feel like I've immersed myself in that and I've gotten it, but there still is rhythms that you have to find, a musicality that is not easy per se to find. And I find myself every night before I step out in every scene, and I'm not kidding, every scene, I am back there, lippity pippity, lippity pippity, lippity pippity lip, nimini pimmini, nimini. I am going, the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue, the tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips. Like, I am in front before every time I step on the stage, because the words are so in your mouth. If you don't ride that train and go, let the words truly take you, you will get off the track. And that's the one thing I'm really grateful for August Wilson, that I've found in a way that I haven't found in Shakespeare, is that you have to let the words lead you. Trust the words. The rhythm that he's created will lead you. If ever you feel lost on stage, don't if any moment you second guess it, it's going to fall apart. So he's designed his text in a way to trust it, to just trust the words, trust the rhythms, and it's been really great for me as an actor, because I've not always, but I've had a tough time sometimes trusting the words. Like, I am the one, like, I am the studious student going over things 100 times and driving myself crazy backstage. And like, I finally feel very comfortable because August Wilson, has given me permission through his words to lean on them. I don't have to do all the other stuff. And it's been really helpful in my growth as an actor. If that makes any sense. I don't know if it makes any sense to y'all.
Oh, no,
totally.
It totally does. Well, especially because Bernice, as Bernice, you spend... So for listeners who may not have seen this show, the set, which is a great set, by the way, that set is completely fantastic. But there's like a 2-level set, and you spend a lot of time upstairs. So we can see, it's kind of like the house is, we can see the both floors. And every time you went upstairs, I remember like watching it and thinking, are you listening to what's saying? Because sometimes we don't see you. You spend a lot of time off stage. Like, what are you listening? Are you staying are you living
definitely
that story? As you know, like we don't see you, but are you living it with us? Are you thinking, oh my God, no, he's not going to try to take that piano again? Jesus,
Yeah.
like
I actually, so I'm in the first scene and then I go away for a little while until I see the ghost. And I've made a conscious choice to stay upstairs and not go downstairs to take a sip of water or something like, because I want to stay in the story. And so sometimes in that moment, I just allow myself time to take in what would have happened, which is she would have seen the ghost and like, what was that moment before? And I'm listening a little bit to the guys because I can't filter in too much information because then I know too much. But I do listen to that. Yeah. And then like even when Boy Willie and Grace come in and I'm upstairs in the bed and like I have the moments where I hear them, but I'm also having internal monologue with myself of what just took place with Avery, the pastor. So I definitely, I have to stay in the story. And I don't have any breaks but one when they start doing Berta, the music piece. That's actually the only break I've given myself. And I don't go to my dressing room during that time. I'm always downstairs, and I have my script right there with me. And just like I'm always in it. I'm in it until the end, which makes for very long days. Because a lot of actors, they're going to take their breaks, and I think we should. But I'm definitely from the beginning. When did y'all see the show? Did y'all see it early on?
Pretty early on, yeah.
I would
saw it early.
Pray and hope and hope that y'all will come back because it's grown tremendously.
Oh, really? In what way? Like, what do you notice, for instance, from you as someone who's in it?
Do you feel that from the audience?
I feel it from the audience for sure, but more so, and I think more importantly, from us, all of the actors. I feel like because this is such a musical, there's so much musicality in the piece. You have to. It's so ensemble. We all have to merge together and find it together, and I think we've done that. And I think also the growth in all of the characters. And my friend, John David Washington, he's found so much now, and when one finds something that allows the other to, and I'm finding more, I have so much more freedom now. Like I feel, because I actually ended up getting COVID right after opening night.
Oh no.
And I had to spend 10 days out. Yeah. But that was one of the best things that could have happened to me because I got to take a step back and see where I was judging myself and getting in my own way.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the desire to be back on stage was so heavy and so thick that once I got back on stage, I was like, let's go. Like,
oh my God.
I'm ready to play. And
I saw you after you came back. I came after opening and reviewed it after, and I can sense what you're talking about, Danielle. I can feel that there was something coming. I mean, I saw it that way. I'd love to come back and see it now. It's a great idea. We don't do that enough. We don't come back to plays of this kind of complexity and depth and see where they go, because really, it would be the smarter thing would be to review something at the end of the run. It wouldn't help the sales, but
tell me about it.
Yeah, it would
actually
be where,
you know what? I'm sorry, I just realized I saw it on November 8th. So definitely way after opening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I wanted to also say, I just wanted to also say, that the performances around you are so. It's a really well-directed piece. And Samuel L. Jackson, who plays your uncle, for everyone who doesn't know the play, it really centers around the return of Boy Willie to the family. And Bernice is the sort of the rock of the family, and she owns the piano with Boy Willie. He wants to sell it, she doesn't, and that's kind of the crux of the drama. It becomes very intense. And Samuel L. Jackson plays their uncle. It's a very generous performance by Samuel L. Jackson. He's such a gracious actor. He allows everyone. It's not about a star turn by the guy that everyone knows best in the play, probably. I think you and John David are obviously well known. But it's it's admirably contained, and it allows the whole play to breathe. I think in the way it's supposed to, which is a wonderful thing to have Bernice as an acting partner, somebody who's, Danielle.
Oh my God, you've done it. Now you've done it.
Yeah,
now you've done it.
Danielle. No, but as Bernice, it's great to have that acting partner. That person must give you a tremendous sense of confidence.
Oh, you've been wonderful. The guys are great. They really are. And it's just been so thrilling because I know how much pressure it is when you're doing your first Broadway show to step out on that stage every night, and for someone like JD, this is his first time really doing theater, to have chosen to do one of the most complex characters in Wilson's canon, and to do that 8 shows a week and commit to just finding it on stage with however many people watching you every night is not an easy feat, and so I'm just very proud of him and also Ray Fisher and Trey Byers, who it's their first time on Broadway as well, and they're killing it, but also being immersed with people like Michael Potts, who is the man. Do you hear me? He is amazing to get to share the story with. And then, and as you mentioned, Sam Jackson, who's just legend, as we call the GOAT, but who encourages, he encourages us so much on stage, just by his presence. Every time I look in his eyes, I'm like, he doesn't know it, but it's like he's passing the baton. It's like he's saying, you got this. Every time he puts his hand on my shoulder in a scene, I just feel him holding us and saying, you are what you're meant to be. You're doing it. And it's really cool. It's really cool experience.
What's your history with August Wilson? Because do you remember when you saw his first play, or actually first, is this your first Wilson role? Is this the first time you've done him, or have you done him before?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
This is my first August Wilson role in totality. I've spoken a little bit about this before, but I auditioned for Juilliard with the Bernice monologue. And that was when I was 17. So my first encounter reading August Wilson was in high school. And I went to this performing arts high school, and they had a monologue book of all of the monologues that the seniors were using for their college auditions. And someone had in there Raina from August Wilson's Jitney. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It sounds like something I've heard my people speak, and how they sound is cool. But I see this playwright, August Wilson. Let me see if he got some more stuff. And I discovered the piano lesson, and I started reading all the women in the canon. And I read the piano lesson, and at the time, my grandmother had passed away, and I was 15, and my godmother passed away a few months later. And so the play just resonated so much with me because it was talking about legacy and those that came before you and losing someone, and just the description of her, when she touched the piano, she rubbed on it till her hands bled. And I remember my grandmother, she used to work in a kitchen at a nursing home. And I remember being with her when I was like 8 years old and cleaning dishes, and just how much she used her hands as a chef. And so when Bernice talked about, her hands till her hands bled, Mama Ola, rubbed that piano till her hands bled, I just thought about my grandmother. So immediately the monologue resonated, and I was like, this is it. And, we worked on it, and it got me to Juilliard. It actually got me into all of the colleges at the time. I was auditioning for Guthrie, NCSA, Carnegie Mellon, all these things. And that was my monologue. So that was my first introduction to August Wilson. And then I got the chance to see my first August Wilson, Gem of the Ocean. That was the first one I got to witness on Broadway. But that was the only one I've seen it. And I've watched a ton of stuff, I've on YouTube. They used to do radio station would put on readings of all of his work. And so they had those on YouTube and things. So I would just try to immerse myself in as much of it as I could. But, just watching stuff as much as I could, because unfortunately, there's been a huge gap of Wilson's work. It was popping when he first wrote it in the 80s and things like that, and 90s. And then there was kind of silence for a while. And so now we're just starting to really bring all of them back.
Yeah, the Kennedy Center did did all 10 plays in a cycle about 10 years ago. It was extraordinary. It was extraordinary to hear them all back to back to back. I will say also, and I don't know if Elizabeth had this experience, it was thrilling to me to be at the theater and to have as many black faces in the audience as there were. This is August Wilson has, in the past, I talked to his original producer, who's no longer with us, Ben Mordecai, who would always talk about how difficult it was to bring black audiences to Broadway. It was a different time, but it's wonderful to see how many people of color are seeing this show. And I know that you're very interested in the legacy of black performers. I know you're a co-founder of an organization. No, can you tell us a little bit about Black Women on Broadway?
Yes, you're right. First, yes, I do want to acknowledge that these plays, when you do get to see yourself, will bring in a different audience, and we want to see ourselves. And it's a beautiful time to be on Broadway. I'm thrilled to be on Broadway at the same time as Ain't No Mo, and Death of a Salesman, this version that they're doing, Top Dog, Underdog, Jeremy Pope's right beside me in his theater. And so it's really a great time. And so one thing I know is that you have to, I'm trying to find the segue into the Black Women on Broadway, but I'll just start talking about it.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it.
Yes. So Black Women on Broadway was created by myself, Jocelyn B.O., who's an incredible playwright who has a play that's coming, Jaja's Beauty Shop, something like that. It's coming this next season, which I'm very excited for her. And then Amber Iman, was in Shuffle Along.
Love Amber Iman.
Played Nina Simone. Yeah. And so we got together and Amber pitched it. She was like, yo, we got to do this Black Woman on Broadway thing. And we were talking about wanting to do mentorships. We were talking about wanting to do something celebratory, bringing us all together. So we had our first annual soiree where we honored 3 amazing women this past year. And the beautiful thing was getting us all in a room together. It was like, wow,
wow.
Just having legends like Audra McDonald come through and LaChance. But the even more beautiful thing that I'm so proud of us, and I look forward to us continuing this, is that the narrative that we're creating isn't only about the artists on stage. It's also about the stage managers, the stage hands. It's about the understudies. It's about the producers. It's publicists, anyone that's involved in this community. Because a lot of times in the past, things are changing now. We felt like the only one. And sometimes that still is the case, like Phantom of the Opera. The sister over there is the only one. So it's just reminding us that there is space for us. There's a sisterhood here with this thing that we call the Great White Way. It's for all of us, and to just remind ourselves of the beauty that we bring to this thing that we love, in Times Square every night. So, I'm very excited about where we go. We're still very much at the foundational level. We're still building, but we have a lot to look forward to.
I love that you mentioned the people who work, like stage managers and all that, because that is a way you can make a living. It's a job. And I think it's something people often lose sight of.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's just reminding the people that are coming up under us that there are more positions. There's other ways into this industry than just being on stage that you can love, make a living doing, and enjoy.
Danielle, thank you for spending time with us today. You're a doll and a treat as always. I feel like I now have to go back and see piano lesson again and see how it grows.
You definitely do. Come back to our home. Come on back.
It is a great home.
Thank you.
I really wish. I understand she has to work.
Right.
Like some of us, but I have like a lot more questions for Danielle.
I know.
We're going to have to get her back. Clearly. We should have her back with like the other two from Group 40.
That's a great idea. Well, I think that's really, we have to discuss that. I think we might have to actually, both of us go together now to see the piano lesson again. Maybe that's the next in our journeys.
Yes. That's true. That's true. Okay, well, that was another great one. Like we're killing it with the guests. I've got to say,
I think
totally
so too.
Killing it. I mean,
I think so too.
It's very uncomfortable to do that because my back is hurting, but I'm patting myself on the back right now. It's
but
happening.
we're making ourselves happy. This is, it's
true.
It's why we did this podcast. It wasn't,
so we could
it wasn't
nerd
to pull
out.
teeth. We didn't want to have people in the dentist chair. We wanted to, no offense to my dentist, but I wanted it to be, joyful for us. People we wanted to hear from. So we're continuing that great, tradition, and we've got more in the works. We're going to keep rolling them out, folks.
That's right. Well, thanks for listening to Marks and Vincentelli. It's a real pleasure. I know it sounds corny, but it's true. And you can subscribe to marksvincentelli.substack.com.
Folks, we sing for our supper here, and we'd love to have you as one of our paying guests. We sing in extra servings for those who are paying.
Oh my God,
and if you're
that reference.
Already, what?
Is that from the boys from Syracuse?
Yeah, sing for your supper.
It is.
I'm not going to sing because that drives people away. But I could do the number, sing for your supper. Absolutely. Very good. You're so sharp, Elizabeth. My God.
Sometimes.
No wonder I like Dan Juliet, And if you are already subscribing, you have our great thanks. I'm Peter Marks.
And I'm Elizabeth Vincentelli. Until next time.